Okay, I think we are live. Sorry for the delay. Um, let's see. Okay, we have people waiting. Good morning or good evening to you. Let me know if the sound and image is okay. Um, and we'll get straight to it. Now, I'm doing these live streams quite often, and if you're new to this channel, maybe you moved over here from my main channel. It would be great if you hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel. And I'm doing these live streams pretty much on a daily basis now. It seems like that's what YouTube wants, and that's okay. I can try to do that as long as when I have time, I will do a live stream here. So please consider subscribing. Also, I have things set up here so that you will need to be a subscriber to join the chat. I find that's a good way to avoid having these trolls and haters and those people joining. So and yeah, so okay, we have Matthias here, garden prepping, GB. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, I'll get straight to it. Okay, I have some notes. I'll find my notes. Here they are. Okay, so COP COP 27 sounds like a movie. COP 27. It's the climate conference where world leaders, politicians, and people who consider themselves to be important will fly their private jets and meet at a luxurious location and talk about how the peasants, us, will have to change our ways so that um, we we won't kill the planet. Okay. Other people might present it in a different way, but okay. This year it will be in Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt in November. So they're going to have to make room for a lot of private jets there. And they will be talking about the real problems that we actually do have, like Europe is burning, heat waves, for wildfires, and so on and so on. So we do have real problems. But I suspect that when they sit their asses down in their private jets and leave the conference, they themselves will not change their ways. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. You know, use their private jet not so much, but I doubt it. And that's actually one of the big problems with these meetings and with these people, because they are not trustworthy. So people tend to not listen to them. I will not listen to some celebrity from Hollywood sitting on his mega yacht talking about how we need to take care of the environment. I will not do that. So okay, but okay, let's get to it here. um, okay, I'll just do like this. I have some suggestions because I care about the environment and I care about nature. Now, I know from experience that some people do not believe that human activity has any impact on the climate at all. I tend to believe that human activity does have an impact on the climate. And you may disagree, and that's fine. As we are adults here, so we can still be friends, and we don't have to call each other names just because we disagree. But I tend to believe that human activity has some impact on the climate. And if we apply the science, and if we try to reach for those goals that let's just, for the sake of the argument, say that these people are right. Okay, there is there is no logic in what they're saying, because if it's such a problem, and I believe we do have a problem, but then we have to do something about it. Okay. Okay, I have a list here. Let's get to the list. So here's my list. My totally advice for free to reduce our impact on the climate. First of all, consumerism must stop. Now, consumerism is not saying something that you don't really need and then you throw it away after a while, or it just, it becomes a in the landfill. What landfill products, that's consumerism. Consumerism is buying food you don't need, and it's not a good thing. So consumerism must stop. And we must stop having stuff made in countries far away, because last time I checked, they're not using a bicycle to get the stuff from China to Norway, my country. It's like there is pollution there, right? And China is the main contributor to pollution in the world, and I believe they don't really care. The pollution from China is immense. It's like, if you compare Norway to that, it's like Norway is nothing to that compared to that. The USA is absolutely at that level, but China will just, it's a big problem. So we must stop having things made in China. Why don't we make it here? We can make nice things here locally, especially if we stop with this stupid consumerism. Okay. And here's another one that should get certain people fired up. And you might say it's cruel, but okay. Stop immigration. Yeah, stop immigration into countries with a high standard of living. Now, we do need some immigration. For instance, in Norway, we have a problem because we don't have enough people in, the healthcare, so we have to get people from other countries to work in healthcare here. So that's one example. So, and that, by the way, is, I've been told, a main reason why the smaller counties in Norway, they really, really wanted refugees from the Ukraine to live there, because it's it's not rocket science. Like they're hoping that they will stay and work in healthcare and maybe as healthcare and other areas as well. So we need some immigration for that. But on looking at this from the environmentalists' perspective, it's not wise to move people from countries with a low degree of consumerism or a low standard of living into countries with a high standard of living, because the more people you have with a high standard of living, the more pollution you will have. So also stop wasting energy. That means stop producing all these, for instance, new cars with a short lifespan. Stop producing all these new smartphones that nobody needs. Stop producing all that crap food that nobody needs. Stop producing all those new clothes that nobody needs. Stop producing. I could go on and on and on. And I know this list, it's not going to happen, but I'm just saying it as it is. And, maybe I'm wrong, but this is just me being an amateur on this, saying what I think while I'm still allowed to do that. And there's another one: reserve the farmland for calories. Actually, a lot of farmland is wasted on producing things that we don't need. Yeah. And this is not going to be a popular one with anyone. We don't need coffee. We don't need tobacco. Um, so you could say that any square meter where they produce coffee, for instance, is wasted because they could use that area for grain or grazing animals instead. Now, I'm not a farmer, so there might be some issues, I guess, with some areas not being suitable for anything else than, I don't know, coffee. But it's just a suggestion here. Grow your own food, produce food locally. Now, I can tell you, we are growing our own food, not all of it, but if you're not growing your own food already, you will be amazed at how much you can, um, how much vegetables. The amount is staggering. You will have a lot. You don't need a lot of land or room. Um, that's everyone should do that. You know, get together with other people, produce food locally, uh, and it's also much healthier. You know, and also when it comes to especially third world countries, um, we need to help with education, clean water, women's rights, and things that we know from experience, will lower the birth rate in those countries, and especially women's rights. And it's very difficult because, for instance, in a lot of these countries, you have Islam, and women's rights in Islam. Well, you add up the numbers there, okay? But for many reasons, it's wise to reduce the number of children being born into poverty. Goes without saying, right? Um, and I don't think that these women want to have like 8 kids starting at the age of like 14. I don't think they want that, you know? So, education, clean water, women's rights in those countries is going to be essential. Um, we must not forget that Africa the population in Africa will rise exponentially. We're going to see that in the coming years, and it's going to be also it's going to have an impact on the climate more than people are aware of. At least that's what I've read. So I'm not an expert on this. Obviously, I'm a novelist. Yes, I do proper research into things I'm writing about, but I'm not an expert on this. What I'm trying to tell you guys is that, and you already know this, that what we're going to hear from the people with their private jets at the COP27 is that we peasants, we need to change our ways. And you're basically killing the planet if you drive a petrol car, and so on and so on. And then they take the private jet back to their mansion. And it's amazing, like the issue with China. They are not going to tell us that we need to change our ways when it comes to China. We need to stop our I already said it, right? So this is why I think we can't trust these people. It's not obviously they're not trustworthy. So there are many things we can do to make our impact on the climate less. There will be people here, I'm sure there are people here in the chat who believe that no matter what we do, it doesn't matter because human beings, you will say, don't have any impact on the climate. I tend to disagree, as I said. There are lots of other factors as well. I'm not saying that 100% of the climate is decided by human activity. That would be extremely foolish to say. There is we are somewhere in between 100% and 0%. Okay. And I don't know. It's I'm just trying to look at this with some applied logic and sense and reason. I will not be shamed into driving my car less. I have a petrol car, and I don't drive around for fun. I've never done that. I've never driven around in my car for fun. Sometimes it feels like these people, these politicians, typically they live in a city. They have high wages, and they don't consider the fact that some of us, we don't live in the city, and we need to cover some distance to get to where we buy our food. Kids have activities and so on. And around here, I think the bus, we do have a bus there once an hour, I think. Less now during summer holiday. And we need a car. But I will say one more thing before I get to the chat. We could stop using petrol. We could stop. I mean, I almost want to say that if you really mean what you're saying, and I'm talking to these people who are trying to shame people who drive a petrol car and so on. Okay, then. Let's go for your solution. No more petrol cars. No more gas heating in houses. Nothing. No more. Let's just go for your solution, okay? But it needs to be 100%. So you won't have an electric car because that battery, where do you think they get the components for the battery? Okay, it's not so very good for the environment, is it? So let's just go full 100% for your solution, okay? So let's lay society waste. Let's just go back to. I'm sorry, it's early for me, and I'm struggling a little bit with the words here. So what I'm trying to say is that the solution that these people are saying that they want is they don't really want that, because they wouldn't like it. Um, but we could do that. For me, it would mean a totally different life. I wouldn't make money. I wouldn't get around anywhere except for when I walk. I would be growing my own food, hunting, fishing, and I wouldn't be part of the modern society at all. Because why would I? What's the point? Because what they are suggesting is a complete breakdown of society. And we could do that. Yeah, okay, bring it on. But I will be okay with that. You won't. I'm not talking to you guys, but these people who are sitting there at their cafes and talking about this. They would suffer immensely. It's ironic, isn't it? But anyway, um, Bone Dog says, "I don't mind. I love camping. Doing it full time would be okay with me." So yeah, so it's a little bit of a joke there, but you get the meaning. Um, did I miss any super chats here? Um, let's see here. Yeah, people won't listen. It's I've people they want confirmation. They don't want to be challenged. It takes a very mature and adult mind to change your opinion. Um, it's and I think actually, and I have to say this, it has to do also with your upbringing, and if you have had many years of proper studies, um, you will have learned proper studies. I'm not talking about the nonsensical stuff that I'm seeing. Yeah. Yeah, not I don't want to get into that, but if you have been studying in a proper way, you will have learned that you need to put your emotions aside, your opinions aside. You do the research, and based on that, you form your opinions. And that's a process that takes quite a lot of time. Garden prepping, thanks a lot. That's very, very kind of you. I'm just scrolling up quickly here. Mike is asking, do you think the Norwegian government is doing a good job of protecting the environment? No, they are doing a terrible job. Number one reason, they think that they're going to, well, they are building wind turbines and destroying wildlife and nature. Uh, and that's a disaster, you know. Um, and they're not protecting endangered species here. They don't. Seems like they don't care. No, they're doing a terrible job, and forestry management is a disaster as well. Ronnie, yes, we are blessed with lots of access to fish, although it's that is also a problem. The overfishing in the oceans, that's a problem, you know. Um, yeah, wind turbines, says Brett, break a lot. Can you imagine in a couple of decades how it will look? Like you will have these broken down wind turbines standing there. Yeah. So yeah, Rooster Cogburn says, "Do not burn coal; it's very dirty." Yes, can you imagine if we all started burning coal again? Like London was notorious for that. The coal would create this very dangerous smog, um, and they are opening up the coal burning the factories where they burn coal to create electric energy in Germany now because Russia shut off the Nord Stream pipeline. uh, yeah, yeah. So yeah, universal basic income. It is interesting. I've talked about that on the main channel. Um, I think you're not going to get money for free. You're going to have to pay with your freedom. But I already made a video about that. So I believe that it's a problem that on one hand these people they are saying that we need to do something the environment and all that, and it's now or never, now or it will be too late. And well, I've heard that before, but I believe that well certainly something is happening, you know, um, and we need to do something. Then why don't we do the things that would actually work, instead of pointing at people and trying to shame people into, I don't know. Um, I can't see any real suggestions there. I can't see anything else coming out of those conferences than people saying that, well, we have to do something now or it will be too late. Well, what are you going to do then? What are we going to do? We sort our rubbish, like we have paper, plastic, and metal. Um, but I believe that we have to do that, or else it will be. If we had only one bin, it would be full, you know, and they won't take the rubbish away if we haven't sorted it. So what's that going to do? Well, are they using that plastic again? I've heard that they use only a fraction of the plastics, um, because only a small part of it can actually be recycled. So I don't know. Uh, a crazy idea that I have, is like, why don't you stop using plastics? When I buy something, I don't need it to be wrapped in plastic. You know, crazy idea. I could bring my own container to the store, like back in the old days, and there would be a guy or woman behind the desk there, and I would say, "I want, I want, beef, like a pound of beef. Here's my container. Thank you." We could do that, you know. It's totally doable. It's possible to do that. Why do they wrap vegetables in plastic? Again, you know, it's not necessary. You have to wash the vegetables anyway. And what I have found is that a lot of people, preppers, typical, proper preppers, they actually live very much in a way so that they don't pollute a lot. They, when you think about it, that's not their motivation typically. I find there are quite a lot of awkward opinions about climate in the prepping community, but I think maybe the most important thing is that the lifestyle is typically environmentally friendly. So, okay. Yeah, I think we watched the same video about recycling, and I learned something new there. What's the channel? It's a good channel. It's called Amor Sorel Finance or something like that. Strange name. Uh, a woman, sounds Australian, but she lives in Iceland. That's a really good channel. Maybe some of you have seen that video. Um, like Tuya Sint. Yeah, it's a good channel. Yeah, okay. Yeah, people are obsessed with convenience, and here's another thing we could do and what we should do as well. Um, we have an obesity problem. To me, it means that people are putting too many calories in here. So why don't we, or governments, they like rules and regulations. Here's one thing that they could regulate. And as I often say, some of you won't like this, but I don't care. I think that we need to increase, if we are going to have taxes on food, like VAT, increase the VAT on the food you don't need, like chocolate, candy, sodas, cookies, um, things like that. Nobody needs that. You don't need to eat that. It can be a little bit more expensive, right? While the foods that you actually do need, that would be fish, meat, vegetables, reduce the VAT on that. And I do not agree with this idea that meat is unhealthy. Um, I do not agree with that. I know for a fact it is healthy for, but and it can be, you can have livestock and in a environmentally friendly way. So there's a movie and a book. I have the book here by Paul Hawken. It's called Drawdown. That's I haven't read it because I have it here, but it's like a lot of pages, and yeah. Um, Thanks, Lance Corporal Veteran. Thanks a lot for the donation. Yeah, so obviously, producing food um, will typically create pollution. The whole process there before the food is on your table, for most people, there's pollution there, or it has an impact on the environment. So when we also have an obesity problem, why don't we make the stuff that people really don't need more expensive, and the food you actually do need less expensive? um, so let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I don't eat that much vegetables and fruit myself. I find it's not so good for me. I eat a lot of red meat, um, which is good for me. So, and I don't care what people say. I have the proof that it is good for me. So, um, Roy, I disagree. You can absolutely tax something out of people's diet. Absolutely. Um, what you do is you put a sugar tax there on and there is actually, at least in Norway, already a sugar tax. If you increase that dramatically, people will stop buying that food. No, but you will have to increase it dramatically. So let's double the price of candy and cookies. You don't need cookies. You can have one cookie on Saturday night, maybe. You know, And yes, some people don't think that's right because it should be up to each and every one to choose. That's a more libertarian view of things. I don't subscribe to that philosophy. I believe people are typically weak, they are easily led, and they give in to temptation. And as long as we are paying practically the hospital bills for those people through our taxes, um, we need to have some kind of incentive put in place for people to make the right choices. Um, Joey says you have a boring life with no comfort foods. What is a comfort food? We don't eat all 100% healthy foods here, not at all. Um, but strawberries. I like strawberries. We grow strawberries. That's comfort food for me. Um, yeah, Coca-Cola. Nobody needs Coca-Cola. It's you need clean water. You don't need Coca-Cola. So um, yeah, Rasmus says all the processed carb junk is still cheap, while it tax real natural foods more and more. Yeah, and that's what, when we're talking about diet and health and so on, that's crazy, and that needs to stop. You know. Um, and yes, before I forget, I have this idea. It's not really my idea, but I just wanted to say that why don't you, or the governments, well, they have no problem handing out money. That we have seen um, through the last few years. So why don't they give some money to people to start their own vegetable garden? Crazy idea, right? Doesn't need to be much, just a little bit, um, to make so that people can get, they can buy, for instance, a few containers and some dirt, soil to put in them, some seeds maybe, and pretty much everyone can grow some vegetables to get people into that habit. Um, you know, Maybe that would be a good investment when it comes to the health in the population. Maybe, just a crazy idea there. Um, so, um, yeah, taxation is evil. I can tell you, as someone who paid 1 million Norwegian kroner in taxes, or was it a bit more actually, 2021, that um, I what when it comes to taxes, the taxes I don't like are the taxes you can't get away from. Okay, so I would much rather have unhealthy food taxed a lot than having my income taxed a lot. No? uh, okay, let's see here. GB says you shouldn't control people through tax. Well, we need some way to control certain people, right? And again, I know it's not a popular opinion to have, but I can tell you, as someone who has worked as a therapist, there are so many people out there who have no control of their own life, and they are just reacting to their environments. They don't have any control at all. They will choose the path of the least resistance through life. Um, and if we didn't have any way of controlling their behavior, they would be a constant burden to other people through uh, things like, well, obesity and the health. We are paying for their bad health, um, and crime, drunk driving, and the list goes on and on. Okay, so yes, controlling people. That is what Klaus Schwab is doing. Yes, yes. There was a German crazy guy with an ugly little mustache. He ate a lot of vegetables and no meat. So it's quite easy to draw comparisons. It's very easy to do that, and I'm sure that you have something common with some terrible people as well. Um, and at the end of the day, if you're going to have a society that is not anarchy, you're going to have to control people because you have to. And welcome to the real world where a lot of people, will just react to stuff without thinking, without taking responsibility for their actions. So grow up, you know. But when it comes to taxes or subsidies, is that what you call it? I'll give you one example of how subsidies or giving people money work a lot better than taking money from people. So in Norway, a few years ago, they decided that we need people to drive electric cars. So they took away the VAT on electric cars and made some other changes that reduced the taxes involved in having electric cars. That led to people in Norway buying a lot of electric cars. So it's, I don't know if it's number one in the world, but it's right up there. That's why you see so many Teslas in Norway. So it worked, and it worked because people discovered that, oh, they're not going to take money from me. They're going to you don't have to pay VAT if you buy an electric car. That sounds a lot more fair, so I'll buy an electric car. Okay. Yeah, Rocky Mountain Bear, we do know something about diet. If your diet consists of Mars bars and cookies, that's a worse diet than if your diet consists of fish and vegetables. And I'm willing to bet a lot of money on that, actually. So, call me crazy, but there are something that we do know actually about diet. So we can actually decide that people don't need chocolate. Well, no, that was not the best example, because chocolate, if you don't add all that sugar, is actually quite healthy. But cookies, yeah, cookies. You have these strange names of cookies in other countries. You wouldn't be able to relate to those we have in Norway. Cookies and Coca-Cola. It's not the best diet. Um, it's just um, yeah, okay. Yeah, I know chocolate is actually healthy. The dark one without the sugar. Yeah. That's not the kind of chocolate I'm talking about here. uh, let's see. I'm looking at the comments now in the chat. Yeah, you have a point there, Rocky Mountain Bear, because if you look at my diet, lots of red meat, and the mantra now is that that's bad for you. Now, I disagree, and a lot of doctors actually disagree as well. But if you ask the people who will meet at the COP27, they will say, "Oh, red meat is very bad for you," and they will say that before they go to their gala dinner, and have red meat and lobster and champagne and so on and so on. You know. um, who goes on a cruise at 400 pounds? Um, you mean those cruises? They lie on these big boats there and eat. Okay. Um, okay. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about actually electric cars, the batteries, the impact on the environment. Okay. Yeah, the all meat diet is I'm not your doctor, but I can tell you that for me it has worked well, incredibly well, and it has had huge effects on my workouts. So for me, it's absolutely the way I want to eat. Mike Hunt, thanks a lot for the donation. Yeah, is this a food channel? No, it's not. But anyway, back to the topic of this live stream. November, they will land in Sharm el Sheikh with their private jets, and they will discuss the climate. And by November, we will have had a summer of wildfires, heat waves, and terrible things. Okay, and I'm laughing because it is terrible what's happening now. So they're going to have to talk about that, and they're going to have to come up with some kind of solution. The problem is they won't touch the things that really matter, okay? And they won't be honest about the kind of life we would all have if we were to go 100% in that direction where we reduce or completely eliminate um, human contribution to climate change, if you will. Um, so, because that would be, a completely different life. And as I said, I'm kind of okay with that. I'm a little bit tired of this modern life, you know. So, you know, but yeah, and if you can scroll back, I talked about that already. But they won't touch the things that really matter because it's all about power. It's about control of the populations. And if you think taxes are bad, and taxes are bad, taxes on income, I mean, that's really bad. The way I see it, it's no. Let me scroll back there a little bit. If you think taxes are bad, that's nothing compared to the measures that will be implemented probably in our in the coming years, that will dramatically decrease our choices and our freedoms. Um, and there's something going on with the chat now. I don't know what it is. But anyway, and that's what I believe we should talk about. That's what I believe we should try to do something about. But anyway, okay. I don't know what's happening with the chat now. I don't know. It looks funny. Now it seems to be okay again. Yeah, did you see it as well? We are okay again. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what tends to happen when I talk about these things is that people will take just a little part of what I'm saying, and they will disagree, and they will think, "What's this guy saying? Oh, I disagree. Oh, I hate him now," and all that. But what I'm trying to do here is to look at the matter from both angles, or many different angles, because we need to do that to be able to discuss these things in a grown-up manner. Um, so yeah, you know, you know how it goes. People would rather People like to be upset and triggered. Triggered. It's such a funny word. Yeah. Um, and people are easily triggered. That's just how it is now. Yeah, Rooster moderators are deleting comments. Absolutely. There are some rules here that they are will be deleting comments that if there is a rude word, for instance, and so on. And we have to do that, because otherwise, I tried without moderators for a while, and I tried to say in the live stream that please behave. There might be kids watching, there might be kids reading the chat. Um, so that's just how it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's necessary, you know. And it's some people. I'll just finish with this. I find it strange what people get themselves to write sometimes in the chat, and I'm hoping that they are like 14 years old and very immature for that age, and they were just yelled at by their mother because they didn't tidy up their room or something, and they're letting their aggression out here, something like that. But I suspect that that's not the case. It's actually a lot of people who are over 18 years old, so adults. But you know, people forget that they are much more visible than they know, uh, when they write things like this, in a chat. So um, you know, um, yeah, trolling people's channels. It's I've gotten used to it, but it's like make your own channel. If you have strong opinions about something, make your own channel, and then you will see how easy it is to, for instance, make a video that is fail proof, where you said everything, you remembered everything. It's not so easy. Um, so, okay. Yeah, Norwegians and prepping. Yeah, there are bots as well. And now, if I say Russia, it seems to trigger the bots. Um, and it's a well known fact that they have these troll factories, the Russian troll factories. That's what I call them. Um, Yeah, exactly, Leo. They don't want to create. They want to wreck. I don't care anymore about them. It's I have to be honest with you. I There was a time when I did take offense to some of the comments, but that's a long time ago. You get thick skin, and now um, it's like I tend to do is ignore them, but we need to get them out of the, like this guy here. Um, doesn't take long, does it? I say Russia, and we have the trolls. Um, it's because of you guys that we get them out of. We delete their comments and try to just get rid of them. I honestly don't care anymore, but I want this to be a nice community, a friendly community, and we can't have people writing rude words and and GB. Thanks a lot for your you're on it there. Thanks a lot. Um, yeah, Cotton. I'm not sensitive. Well, I try to be sensitive. It's important for a novelist to be sensitive, but when it comes to this, I don't care for me, but I know that some of you guys you really don't like that, and I've had people writing to me about that. So we try to keep it friendly here, and I find that that is important. And also, here's a tip for you: if you are on YouTube as a YouTube creator, I believe it's one of the reasons why I've had, you know, why I have quite a lot of subscribers on my channels. It's about the community. It's about creating a friendly atmosphere, um, and maybe it's overlooked. People like to play tough, and they say, "Oh, I don't care about the trolls. I don't care about that. I'm not sensitive." Well, at the end of the day, you are. You are. At the end of the day, you do care. But more importantly, your subscribers, the good people in your community, in this community, um, they care, and we need to take care of. I feel we all need to take care of each other here, so that's why we get rid of the trolls and haters. It's not about me; it's about the community. That should be very easy to understand. I know you understand this. Um, okay, I'm going to end the live stream now. Yes, I can't read your name there. From Russia, and you're saying you're from Russia, but not the troll. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm talking about. Uh, talking about. I don't think they. I don't know where they are from. Okay, I have to go now, and have a nice day as always, and we'll talk soon. Bye.